EPSI presents Knowledge Series.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
EPSI is a national forum established in 2005, and they have about 6,000 institutional members. They're basically working to promote the education in India, especially the quality of education, and through this quality education to improve the institution to international level, and also the some policy advocacy, accreditation, faculty development programs, consultancy for creating the model institutions. These are the some areas they are working. So today I would like to thank EPSI once again for inviting such eminent professor and the academician and leader in research, not only in India, so globally. So again, welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
This is the National Education Policy 2020 is now with us. Indians in India and Indians in abroad have been waiting for this kind of education policy since long back, and no doubt now it has been well appreciated by the people and accepted by the people. So it's a big responsibility for all of us to implement, and of course the leaders of educational institutions need to play a big role. And now I'm in front of such a leader in economics and research, so obviously I'm so curious to discuss some of the points. And of course, first of all, since all of us are looking at how the top institutions of the country like IIT Delhi are planning to implement NEP 2020 in terms of academics, in terms of research, finance and governance. Sir.
Yeah, thank you, Partha ji. I think very nice to have you. Very nice to talk to you. So, in fact, the national education policy all the right things, and one of the things, for example, the basic the problem that we see in the higher educational institutions in India is a very fragmented approach to education. I mean, India, for whatever reason it is, has created these very specialized kind of institutions. If you want to do medicine, you go to AIIMS. If you want to do engineering, you come to IITs. If you want to do pharmacy, there are pharmacy institutions, and there are social sciences institutions. There are science-based institutions. There are agricultural universities. I think this fragmented way of doing education has been our biggest challenge in the country, and that is also the reason why education has not really, the higher education is not seen as impacting the society sufficiently enough. And one major thing that the national education policy talks about is making our institutions multidisciplinary in nature. Meaning, if you have an agricultural university, the students and the faculty there shouldn't be working in the agriculture in silos. So they should also have economics, they should also have engineers, they should also have social scientists. I think that is how the agriculture area can be impacted, because when you put the problem first, if your role is to solve problems don't have a discipline. I think then if we start compartmentalizing problems, no problem can be solved in totality. So that has been the biggest challenge with the Indian education system. I was also recently reading the education policy, a very well drafted, well articulated kind of a policy, and given the nature of people who are involved in, for example, people like Manjul Bhargava, people like Kasturi Rangan, I think people like them getting involved in the national education policy. No wonder the document talks about all the right things. Now the challenge is with the implementation, but this multidisciplinary approach is one thing which is very important. In IIT Delhi, for example, we have been thinking on the same lines for the past 5 years. I mean, in fact, I share that opinion, what is expressed in the national education policy. So as a result, for the past 5 years at IIT Delhi, if you look at the new departments we have started, we have started a school for public policy. Now, why do we need a school of public policy at IIT Delhi? Because we always looked at as engineers, the only way to solve problems is through technology. And but that's not the correct approach. Technology and policy need to go hand in hand, and for any impact to be seen on the ground. So we realized the need for a good policy school, particularly for technology policies. So we started the School of Public Policy, and Tata Trust came forward and funded it, quite well, and now that school is coming up very strongly. Another school we started was Department of Design, a brand new Department of Design. What does the Department of Design do? Department of Design basically focuses on the aesthetics. Now, when engineers design a product, right, we only focus on the functionality aspects of it. But today, if you see any technologies are either beautiful or they are invisible. Now, the technology part of it, as engineers, we can do very well. But what about the aesthetics aspect of it? That aesthetics aspect of it is what requires creative people to work with the engineers, and that is again where we have a department of design, and in the department of design we are starting now a bachelor's in design. Now again, for the bachelor's in design, we are saying the students will not be admitted through the regular JEE kind of an examination. JEE tests the maths, physics, chemistry, or your analytical skills, but creativity is not about learning maths, physics, chemistry. Creativity is about visualization, about the thinking of the design aspects, and there we are now. We will be admitting students into the BDES program through completely different kind of a test, which will test the creative ability of these students. So, Department of Design is another one where we have now, where we have a brand new department, and our humanities departments we have expanded in scope. In fact, they are recruiting many new faculty because we are an institution of eminence. Through the IOE scheme also, we have strengthened our humanities department. If you look at MIT kind of places, 17% of their faculty belong to the humanities departments, but in IITs it is somewhere from 5 to 7%. I think this needs to be corrected, because humanities departments are our window to the society. The humanities departments are basically the ones where they need to understand the social problems and then explain it to engineers, so that engineers can start looking at these problems and develop solutions for them. So I think I look at humanities departments as windows to the society, and I see a major role for the humanities departments, because we need all round development of our engineers. Engineers who are only looking at whatever aspect that they are doing. For example, if you are building a dam, I think a civil engineer only constructing dams and roads is not going to be is not going to work in the future. A civil engineer also needs to understand the environmental impact of these constructions, see the social impacts of it. I think needs to have a all round idea about what the engineering is all about. So from that point of view, the humanities department is one thing which we have strengthened, and we have also created, for example, a complete new department for material science and engineering. And in the Department of Material Science and Engineering, we are recruiting faculty with chemistry backgrounds to material science backgrounds to electrical background, and there are people from multiple disciplines, because materials are going to impact almost all segments of the society and all segments of engineering. So therefore, again, material science should not mean only materials engineers doing material science. So we again have created a department where we have people from multiple disciplines, multiple backgrounds. So I think this is the way we need to be doing engineering. And the otherwise, just slotting engineering in a narrow kind of a confined kind of a way is not going to take us anywhere. We will not become effective when it comes to delivering solutions to the society. And there, this multidisciplinary approach is important. Another thing the national education policy talks about is internationalization, and that's again very good, because why is it that our institutions are not ranked highly enough? And that's because out of almost the 6 parameters which are used for ranking, on 3 parameters we score zeros. We actually score 0, 0, 0 on 3 out of the 6 parameters, which is again our biggest challenge. And these three parameters are international students, the international faculty, and faculty student ratio. All of them have the internationalization as one of the major components. To improve our faculty student ratios, we also need to welcome international faculty, because to expand our institution system, we cannot run these institutions with only Indians serving them. I think we need to now start recruiting. Our students must be taught by the best minds from all over the world. Why not? I think that is where the national education policy also talks about internationalization. By admitting, or by providing jobs to the brightest minds from all over the world, we will also have students coming from those countries, and then our students will get the best quality education, and even the cultural aspects they get to learn, because the future engineers need to develop that global outlook. The world has become, is almost shrinking now, is all becoming, one single place. The economy of a small island nation can impact the economy of the entire world. So therefore, we need to develop that global outlook, and for that our institutions need to open up, and recruiting international faculty, admitting international students, or even IITs, or some of our top institutions starting campuses abroad is again very important, because that is the only way we can change the perception about Indian education. Now, if you ask somebody in Japan about IITs, many of them wouldn't even have heard about IITs. But if you ask about IITs in the Silicon Valley, many would have heard about IITs, because many of our students have been there for a very long time and established themselves in those countries. But in many countries, they have not even heard about IITs, and now expecting that IITs will become suddenly global, benchmarks is not going to happen overnight. So for that, we need to open up our institutions, admit for international students, and have international faculty, also go out and start campuses and reach out to people. I think that is how India can become that Vishwa Guru kind of a thing. There was a time when the whole world used to come to us and study with us, and we have lost that place now. And that is because of our very confined, very narrow-minded way of doing higher education. And national education policy now, in my opinion, is a step in the right direction. It is basically opening up the higher education, and making these institutions more comprehensive in nature, so that we can start to solve problems. For example, if you want to solve the problem of agriculture in the country, now Prime Minister has been saying double the farmers' income, by 2022 kind of a thing. And who is going to double the farmers' income? Whose discipline is that? And to solve that problem, you need engineers and scientists to be working hand in hand. When I say engineers, it will require at least 6 or 7 departments to come together to solve the problems of the farmers, because there are so many technology inputs that are required to achieve the goal of doubling the farmers' income. And that again, will require, therefore, the multidisciplinary kind of an approach, and we don't have that. Even, why is it that India is importing almost everything required for the medical applications? All the medical instrumentation, medical instruments are all getting imported, because there is not a single place in this country where medical doctors and engineers, or the top quality medical doctors and engineers, work in a team. There is not a single place. We have not created any platform for medical doctors to interact with engineers. And IITs are doing very well in engineering. AIMS, they are doing very well in medicine. But how many times have IIT engineers spoken with the doctors in AIMS? We never did that. IIT Delhi has All India Institute of Medical Sciences, within a 5-kilometer radius. But how many interactions have really taken place? So we have again changed it. So we are now connecting. We would have started at least 100 new projects between IIT Delhi faculty and the AIMS faculty, and that is how the medical doctors talking to engineers, they will come to you with a problem, because these are all people who are treating patients on a daily basis, and they know their problems very well. And they talking to engineers is when we get to work on the right kind of problems, and over a period of time, some of these ideas can become solutions, and they can go to the ground. That is what we need to do. I think national education policy got everything right in terms of multidisciplinary institutions, in terms of internationalization, and even in terms of regulation. IITs, are less regulated compared to universities. The universities, there are so many bodies, all of them are trying to control some aspect of the university. And even in IITs, for example, I think we are running these institutions, though we are much better off compared to the university system in terms of autonomy. We at least have the academic autonomy. We don't have the administrative autonomy still. But I think that is what even national education policy talks about. It talks about independent boards and boards appointing the directors, boards which are appointing the chairman. I think that is a way to go. And I think these are very good steps. And it's all a matter of implementation. I think all the right things are said in the education policy, and how well can we implement it in spirit, not just in terms of in rules and all that, but in spirit, how well can we implement it is what is going to decide the future of Indian higher education, in my opinion.
Yes, sir, you have given details, and in fact, you rightly mentioned that implementation is the biggest challenge for us. In fact, NEP itself has given us a lot of challenges, like say connecting multiple disciplines for multidisciplinary program is itself a challenge. So a proper training, it seems, is required for the teachers so that they can understand the challenges of NEP and prepare for implementation. Do you have any suggestion for the government of India to organize such kind of official training programs, or the way online seminars are going on? It is
I
enough
was
to meet the
recently
requirement.
in a similar kind of a event involving AICTE, and I made them a few suggestions. Now, one of the suggestions I made to them was having structured programs. We need to put our money where our mouth is. We are talking of interdisciplinary research, we are talking of industry connect and all that, but what are the schemes at the national level where we can do all of that? And in fact, at IIT Delhi, I gave them the example of one initiative we took at IIT Delhi about 3.5 years ago. We call it FIRP, Faculty Interdisciplinary Research Program, FIRP. And what we did under the FIRP was, we said if two faculty members from two different departments or centers, I mean, if, for example, a electrical faculty member wanting to work with a biomedical or biology faculty member, institute will give them a seed support. The seed funding will be about over 2 years. We give them about 20 lakhs kind of a thing. The only condition we put was, after you work for 2 years together, you need to go out and then get extramural support, because institutions also don't have sufficient money. We cannot keep on funding research internally. So we said we will seed fund these collaborations between multiple departments where the faculty members are involved, and but with the condition that after 2 years they have to go out and get extra support from other agencies and from industries and places like that. And institute, we at IIT Delhi, we funded about 5 crore worth such projects, and 5 crore worth of projects which we funded about 3.5 years ago. Now recently, when we were reviewing what has happened to that program, we were able to generate something like 55 crores out of that. So 5 crores of investment in terms of bringing people together, and 55 crores of returns in terms of research projects, coming from industries and various agencies in the country. That is what we need to do. So we need more structured programs so that people from multiple disciplines will at least get to work with each other, learn to work with each other, which is very important. Another scheme which I suggested to AICT recently, after that one of their top persons contacted me and we are discussing is, in this country we have enabled a process to acquire education by through various ways. So there are multiple ways you can now get education. There are universities of all types, and that part is taken care of. But one thing which is not happening is, for example, if I have, in many universities they have done great research and they have developed a prototype, how do they take it to the society? In many government institutions, I can tell you, even incubation facilities are not available. Even for faculty members, starting companies is not allowed. That is a big flaw in the system, because if you don't allow that, the only way a research can reach the society is by industry taking it over and then delivering the solution. But in India, industries have not been there in the manufacturing sector. There are hardly any industries, which are interacting with universities to look at what is happening and then take their technology and then deliver it to society. That's not working very well. But startups, for example, have come as a big boon for the country. And at IIT Delhi, we have at least 100 startups right now. And many faculty members, we are also encouraging them to become entrepreneurs. And at IIT Delhi, we again have a program called FIRE, FIRE, Faculty Innovation and Research Driven Entrepreneurship, FIRE. And under that FIRE scheme, we now fund our faculty to become entrepreneurs. If a faculty member says that I have found a solution to a problem, then institute will support them monetarily. Institute will give them a leave, 1 year of paid leave, 2 years of leave, and then the faculty member in the 3 years time can convert that knowledge into a product or any solution to a problem, develop prototypes and all of that. So we started a scheme called FIRE. At IIT Delhi, I would like to see at least 1 in 6 faculty members, to become entrepreneurs. If faculty members with their knowledge become entrepreneurs, then the PhD students will start doing the same, and that is how the research ecosystem will be built, where the solutions will reach the people. So I think working with industries to deliver solutions is a very old kind of a model. India now needs to find a new model in translating knowledge to the society through faculty entrepreneurship kind of model, through PhD students becoming entrepreneurs. But for that again, we need national level schemes, and that is what in fact we are looking at the national level. But some of these are required right now for our institutions to become impactful, for our research to be seen in the society. Otherwise, we are all taking money and writing papers, but that is not all that we are supposed to be doing. We need to, our research eventually needs to impact people in the society. So that's very important.
Okay, sir. Sir, let's come back again. The implementation. You have already mentioned that implementation is. I do agree that it will be really a big challenge. That implementation. In fact, in NEP 2020 says that NEP 2020 will be in operational mode 2030 to 2040. And NEP has mentioned some of the cutting edge areas like AI, 3D machining, big data. In the next 10 years, definitely you will agree with me that many new areas will emerge for us to learn for the growth of the country. Don't you think that we need to take leadership in all these areas much before 2030? And if it is yes, what is the roadmap? Because these are the some areas where many countries have already implemented. So if you are thinking about that, we need to take the leadership much early. So what will be the roadmap? In fact, I know that IIT Delhi has already started the School of Artificial Intelligence. So how to make it happen for other institutions? Because NEP is saying that it has to be in operational mode for all the institutions in 2030 to 2040.
If you ask me, there are, I call them the 5 T's, the 5 technology platforms. These are the 5 technology platforms which are going to be, almost each platform you can say will be a decade of development kind of a thing. What are these 5 technology platforms? If you look at even the India's journey into the knowledge space started with the IT. Post independence, the IT, the information technology is one area where India captured a lot of world market, thanks to there were those issues with the year 2000 and all that, and that's how India got into the IT space and all that. The information technology, if you see, I was recently looking at some data, and Saudi Arabia crude oil export is about $130 billion per year, and India's IT exports are equivalent to Saudi Arabia's crude oil exports. In 2019, India exported IT services worth about 130 billion again. So I think India is a knowledge economy, and while Saudi Arabia crude oil will get depleted one day, but India's IT exports, which is all the brain power, will only improve by utilizing this as a resource. So therefore, I think that is an abundant potential for India to become a knowledge economy. So IT showed us the way. So IT now India is doing very well. World over, everybody associates India with the IT companies and the IT expertise and all that. After IT, what came? If you look at India's journey, then the biotechnology came. The biotechnologies, again, India has done very well. If you look at the vaccines, every second vaccine in the world is actually manufactured out of India. And every second medicine sold in the US, the generics is actually manufactured out of India. Every fourth medicine sold in UK, of all the medicines sold in UK, is actually manufactured in India. So biotechnology is again a place where India has been able to capture the world market. So if you look at the IT and BT, India has done very well. The information technology, biotechnology, India is now playing a leading role, in the world. Now the third technology which has come in after the biotechnology, the nanotechnology. In the nanotechnology space, again it's a platform. So nanotechnology can impact almost every segment of society, from medicine to textiles to healthcare. Everything you can think of will get impacted by the nanotechnology. And there India has become a knowledge power. India ranks third in the world when it comes to knowledge in nanotechnology. If you look at the number of papers being written in the nano area, look at Scopus, Web of Science. I'm not talking of predatory journals. I'm talking of the high impact, the good journals in the nanotechnology. India is ranked third in the world. After China, US comes India in terms of nanotechnology. So in nanotechnology now the knowledge is available. How do we translate that knowledge to wealth is where we need to put our efforts, and that is where through startups and through industries can we commercialize nanotechnology and again achieve the leadership position in the world, like what we have done for the information technology and the biotechnology. So nanotechnology is one area where India needs to put its act together and then utilize the knowledge that is available to to start to solve problems and to capture the markets and all of that. After nanotechnology comes the cognitive technology. Cognitive technology is where I would put all the AI, ML, all these areas together. In the cognitive technology space, India is now beginning to put its act together. And but if you look at the citations, our computer science departments, are some of the finest. Though we are not writing enough papers in the AI, ML areas, but in terms of quality of research, India currently ranks fifth in the world, according to some of the data available online. India ranks fifth in the world in terms of citations, for the research that we are doing in the cognitive technology space. So, but again, we need to improve the manpower base. We need more and more people to work in that area. The IIT Delhi initiative for School of AI, is also a step in that direction, because how did computer science develop in this country? Computer science developed in this country because it came out of EE. If otherwise, in 40 years ago, electrical departments also had the computer science as integral part of that. Computer science department started to come out of electrical engineering, and then they started to become their own independent entities, and they started to offer lots of programs at the bachelor's and master's level. As a result, now you see in the country a large number of computer scientists, and the IT revolution, all of that has taken place. Now AI areas are coming out of computer science. Now the AI areas that are getting formed now, they are coming out of computer science, because computer science still focuses on the core aspects of AI. So they will work on the algorithms, they will work on the platforms for the AI ML kind of areas. But the applications domain is going to be very huge, and the application domain cannot be done by computer scientists alone. If, applying AI to biology, you need to have biologists studying AI and then understanding the AI algorithms and applying them to biological problems. Therefore, the school of AI, will require multidisciplinary kind of an approach again. You need people who can apply AI to atmospheric sciences, to to the medical sciences, to the almost anything that you can think of. So therefore, school of AI, the new initiatives that are being taken, where these departments are getting formed now for AI ML kind of areas, I am sure in the next 10 to 20 years you will see a huge manpower base becoming available with expertise in the AI ML kind of areas, the cognitive sciences. So the way India captured the IT market by strengthening its computer science programs is exactly how India will capture the AI ML market by creating these entities in academic institutions all over the country. So therefore it's a good step we need to do. So after the cognitive technologies, what is the next technology? In my opinion, it's going to be the quantum technologies. Quantum technology is again a platform, and quantum technology is again going to impact almost every segment of the engineering or sciences, and that is again where India needs to initiate activities. In quantum technology, we are nowhere. With the government of India has just announced a program for quantum technology, But we have to now start creating programs. We need to start training people. It's very highly physics intensive, and but India has always had a very strong tradition of basic sciences, physics, chemistry, maths. India always was very good. So I think using that strength that India has, can we now start doing good work in quantum technology? And it's not just generating knowledge. I think translating that knowledge, putting in place proper metrics for us to judge our work, and then putting in place proper methods and systems so that that knowledge can help the society. I think these are very important. So therefore, these are the 5 technology domains. It started with information technology, then came to biotechnology. These 2 areas, India has now the world's leading kind of a position. Then comes the nanotechnology, where we are still in the knowledge kind of a space, but we haven't captured any application domain. So IT, BT, NT, that is the 3 technologies where we seem to have some grounding. But now the next 2 technologies are cognitive technology and quantum technology. I think there India now needs to put its act together and start doing well. So therefore, these are the 5 technology platforms where all of us will see major activities happening in the country. I think we need to now start to create centers of excellence in these 5 technology platforms. Have Indian diaspora also contribute to them. In fact, last night I was in a call with many international experts as part of the Vaibhav initiative, which Prime Minister has launched. And as part of that Vaibhav initiative, now we are looking at how do we involve the Indians all over the world in faculty positions. Can we involve them in building the India's knowledge base? And one of the suggestions was to create these centers of excellence, which are joint centers of excellence created all over the country with involvement of scientists and engineers in India and scientists and engineers of Indian origin anywhere in the world. Can we together help India become a knowledge economy and capture some of these markets in the future? So that is where I believe the future lies for us. India has a huge strength when it comes to converting our economy into a knowledge economy. We have done that for IT and BT. There is no reason why we cannot do that for NT, CT, and QT. So therefore, I think the future looks bright for India, provided we act now. I think if we delay things, then we would have lost that buzz. Because, for example, the semiconductor manufacturing, we have completely lost that buzz. Because I keep saying that we have not only lost the semiconductor manufacturing buzz, the bus also crushed us under its wheel, because nothing much happened in India when it comes to semiconductor manufacturing. All integrated circuits today are imported. Because I think at the time when we were supposed to have acted in a certain way, we did not do that, and now it's too late. So that should not happen with these other technologies. So we need to now, have proper policies, proper investments made, and proper structures in place so that we can make use of these new technology platforms that are evolving, starting with nanotechnology and upwards, and then see how India can position itself as the world's leading player.
Open up outward looking, very important keywords for many institutions like us. When you said for international faculty recruitment, in fact, one question came into my mind, that spending 6% GDP for education, it's a long demand in 1968, 86, 2020, all the education policies, it has been mentioned, even Niti Aayog also said the same thing, but it has not happened. Just 4.43% of GDP we have reached till date as per the NEP. So what are your views in this regard? Do you think that would it be possible, or can it be really done in next 2 to 3 years? Because finance is the prerequisite for all these things.
Agree with you. In fact, national education policy also talks about it. The idea in the national education policy is to create a national research foundation, NRF, where they have even specified certain percentage of GDP becoming available for higher education, which needs to happen. I mean, that is again part of the implementation plan of NEP. If what is written there gets implemented, I think some of these problems which you are mentioning will go away. India is not spending enough in its higher education. In fact, if you look at the data available publicly, what China spends on two universities, the Peking University and Tsinghua University. The two universities, what China spends is the entire MHRD budget for higher education. All 100, more than 100 institutions receive same amount of money as what, including IITs and all that, what China spends on two of its universities. So I think that is required to build infrastructure, to build facilities. I think that needs to happen. India needs to spend more money. But NEP also talks about it. So NEP actually talks about percentage of GDP becoming available for NRF, which is a good sign. I think India needs to spend money. I mean, all this will not happen by just talking about it. I think all this will require resources to be made available, and I am confident. I think government, as part of its implementation, will do all the right things to make it happen.
Sir, transfer of credits, especially the NEP says that foreign students from other institutions can come and study, and it's possible transfer of credits. But how IITs are planning, because students you take through JEE, we also have our entrance exam. So they have already entered through JEE. So now if students come from other universities, transfer of credit, how it is possible? What is your
We
plan?
need to, yeah. We need to see. I think there is not much of a clarity on the transfer of credits, but within IIT, for example, at IIT Delhi, we are now launching major online programs, and where our programs can be taken by anybody in the country, or for that matter, anybody in the world. And we will have a large number of programs announced pretty soon from IIT Delhi. These are all online. People can take these courses sitting anywhere in the country, and if they clear the exams that we conduct, they also can get credits. And we are also saying that if they accumulate certain number of credits over a period of time, we will even design for them diploma kind of initiatives. We can design for them even degree initiatives, so which can all be online. I think these are possible. I mean, so I think through this online kind of education, we hope to now start giving credits to people who take our courses, and if they accumulate certain number of credits, they can even get a diploma or a degree from IITs. So we are all thinking on those lines right now, but across the board to do that, I think will require a lot more thinking. But I think at least NEP enables that. The kind of a credit bank is what they are talking of, which is a good thing. I think that is how education needs to be, because I think India, our gross enrollment ratio is only about 25% right now. NEP talks about taking the gross enrollment ratio to 50% by 2035 and all of that. What it means is doubling the number of institutions in the country, or doubling the intake of existing institutions. And that is not going to be a very easy thing, considering the physical infrastructure and the limitations involved. So I think our best bet is in online education. So we need to do that. We have actually no choice but to turn some of our programs into online programs. And in some areas it can be done. Even the COVID also has shown that while basic engineering kind of degrees or the courses are very difficult to teach online, but some programs are running very successfully. The management programs, the economics kind of programs, some of the humanities programs are working very well. So they are not really complaining as much as the engineering departments. So therefore, I think the COVID has opened up some of these avenues. It has also removed some of these barriers. Otherwise, 70% of IIT faculty, even in a place like IIT Delhi, have never taught anything online. We are all used to going classrooms and delivering lectures. But I think because of COVID now, those barriers are broken. So people are now very freely going online and giving lectures. They have also figured it out very well now in the last 6 months. They may not have started very well, but they're all getting better now after 6 months of doing it online. So I think this has now shown a way for more and more online kind of programs. So I'm confident sooner or later this credit bank kind of a concept will evolve, and students sitting in any place can get a degree or diploma from IITs by registering for these online programs, which is a good thing.
Correct. Online, yeah, online is the solution. Sir, that again implementation. This don't you think that there should be a tool to measure the implementation of NEP in educational institutions, and should be transparent and open to public, and in fact month-wise progress, some kind of tool to so that people can see that NEP progress is going on well in different areas.
It's
What do you think
important.
about
I agree with you, but I think MHRD or Ministry of Education has come up with a 70-point kind of a NEP implementation plan. They have with timelines. I recently saw a news report where the Ministry of Education has put out the 70 things that need to be done as part of NEP, and they have even assigned timelines to that. I think they are monitoring at the highest level. It looks like government is also very serious. It looks like from the highest levels, starting from the prime minister level, everybody recognizes the problem of implementation in this country, because we all know our bureaucracy. I think implementation also not in terms of what is there in writing, but also in spirit. You can say you have given autonomy, but then if you have created another body to control another body, then it's not autonomy. I think implementation in spirit is also as important as implementing it as written there. I think but government seems to be serious. At least I see that seriousness at the at the prime minister level, and even at the
it?
minister for education level. I am confident. I am hopeful that this might turn out to be a game changer for the country.
Yes. Maybe the final question that the institution of eminence, these 20 institutions, do they need to play a different role, or can they play a role for implementing NEP 2020, or how will they be involved? Or it is
In fact,
yes,
as
this
per the original IOE, the IOE private institutions were supposed to get autonomy on the same lines as what NEP talks about. But I think some of these need to be implemented. So I think one of the things the IOE institutions can do is mentor other institutions. The mentorship is very important, and in a country like India where there are not so many good institutions, I think one of our jobs is also to connect with other, less deserving institutions and see how we can bring them up. Because at the end of the day, these are all our own children who go and study in these universities. For me to take a look at to look at only IIT Delhi, it will be a very narrow-minded kind of an approach. Because I know that many of our children go to universities all over the country. It is also my responsibility to ensure and see how IIT Delhi can help some of these institutions to come up, so that the quality of education in the country overall will go up. So I think the IOE institutions need to play this mentorship role to other institutions, and I think it's very important. We, of course,
mentorship.
while we go to that next level, we need to take everybody along. I think again, IOE institutions becoming silos, not interacting with other institutions, is not going to solve the problem at the national level. You will have some peaks emerging, but the others will only become worse. So you don't want to grow at the cost of other institutions. You want to take everybody along, and see that the graduates coming of our universities and institutions are acquiring the skills that are required for the 21st century, and also are well groomed as individuals. And I think it's very important for all of us to play a role in that.
Sir, thank you so much for your time. I know how difficult it is to find time amidst your busy schedule. Uh, Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Pleasure talking with you.